Last episode, we were packing up from our site at Fundy National Park and hitting the road to our next destination, Kouchibouguac National Park. It wasn't a long driving day, but we did have a few stops to make along the way. First one was an important one, though. I made sure to stop back in Elma, as the night before I saw there was a bakery in town. I grabbed a coffee and a sticky bun. They are famous for these for a reason. Oh my god, they are still warm and gooey. Yeah, this is home to the sticky bun for a reason. Oh my god, so good. We then stopped in Moncton for a quick restock on groceries. Our next stop was in Shediac. My brother-in-law had mentioned that I should get my wheel nuts retorqued as they were new and I had been driving a lot. Once in town, I was going to try and look up the closest Canadian Tire, but as we drove into town, the first thing I saw was a Canadian Tire. So I pulled right in. I love stopping at Canadian Tire on the road because I can almost always bring Beau in with me and I can often get what I need. They were very helpful and came out to retorque my tires, but not before a lot of pets and treats for Beau too. We then stopped at the Giant Lobster for a quick walk. The Lobster was blocked off because he was being repainted, but we still had a good time walking around this beautiful rest stop. We then got back on the road and headed to our next park. I picked Kouchibouguac because it was right on the water. We were very impressed with this park from the first moments. Turns out to be a very dog-friendly park. Beau was allowed everywhere except for Kelly's Beach and the boardwalk, but that is just a small part of this park, so we had lots of places to explore. It rained off and on the first night, which made it challenging to set up camp, but we got it done and headed out to find a place for Beau to swim. We didn't have to go very far, as there was many spots within walking distance of our site. Hey. We were even treated to a wonderful sunset before settling in for the night. Again, this park was very quiet as it was not quite the weekend, so it was nice and peaceful. We spent the next day walking along the shoreline and finding a beach area to splash around in. We were having lots of fun in the crisp ocean waters until I noticed a jellyfish floating next to us and decided I didn't want either of us to be stunned, so we headed back towards our campground. Found this at the little grocery store I stopped at yesterday, and it sounded good, and I was in a rush, so of course I didn't think about it, and I just grabbed it, and now I'm going to eat it, and it's going to be a good little treat today. Yep, they're good. Just a hint of maple, not too mapley, but yummy. That afternoon, we went for another hike in the other direction along a trail that winded its way through the forest along the shoreline. There were many beautiful views and places to sit and enjoy them. Windy and the sky got gray, and it's a weird warm wind because it was freezing a few minutes ago. All of a sudden the wind got warm, the skies got dark, so we are rushing back to get a few things down before the rain because we're leaving first thing in the morning. So I want everything pretty much packed up tonight because we have about an 11.5-hour drive tomorrow. Yay! But we can do it. A few stops to make along the way. We gain an hour on the way back. And can you pick up your ball, please? Stop leaving it. I'm not retracing our steps again. Ball, pick up your ball. Ball. Around dinner time, it was raining, so we sat under our awning to wait it out as the park began to fill up. It being busy, though, it wasn't overly loud, which was nice. The rain slowed enough that we were able to pack everything up and set out for a play in the ocean and our final New Brunswick sunset of this trip. The next morning, we would have to leave very early as I had decided to do the long drive all in one day instead of breaking it up into two like I had originally planned. I determined that the extra 4 hours of driving in one day would be worth it when I got a full day of rest at home before heading back to work on Monday. It was a good decision. We left Kouchibouguac at 6:50 in the morning. Alright, 6:50 and we are leaving the park I was awake anyways at 6 o'clock this morning because I did not sleep last night. It's supposed to be a long day. But we are headed for coffee and home. 11 and a half hour drive plus stops. We should be home at dinner time, a little after dinner time tonight. If we didn't stop anywhere, it would be around 5 o'clock that we would get home by 5:30 or 5:30. But since we are making stops because I cannot drive 11 and a half hours straight, it's more likely going to be about 8, maybe 8 tonight. Ugh. We'll see. We'll see how the day goes. And after a stop at Tim's for coffee and breakfast began the journey home. New Brunswick roads are not the most enjoyable to drive on, but the scenery along them is stunning. So it kind of works itself out. We have been on this road that has had no signs of life other than a couple deer crossing the road in front of us. No houses, no buildings, no nothing, no cell service for I think we have about 75 more kilometers to go, and we've already done like 80 or something. I think we're halfway on. Oh, yeah, there's been nothing. And thank God the car is still going, and we have not hit anything or anything's happened, because we'd be pretty freaking screwed. I've only even seen two cars. One passed us going the same direction, and actually we just saw another one going the opposite direction. So 3 cars in the last like half hour on this road. And we're back on the main highway. We're on the Trans-Canada right now. On the Trans-Canada right now. It feels so much better. Roads that are not full of potholes and bumps that you have to dodge. We have cell reception again. There is other people around. Civilization off and on throughout. Moose crossing the road as if. Oh, he's stuck in the middle. Still have to watch for wildlife, but it feels so much less anxious right now because we are not in the middle of nowhere, and we are reachable. If anything happens, I can reach out, they can get to me. It just feels, I am way less anxious on this road than I was on that really, really long stretch of desolate New Brunswick, middle of nowhere road. As it was a very long drive, we made sure to make a few stops to break it up and give us an opportunity to stretch out. Our first stop was in Edmundston. We walked through the park and around town a bit. It was an interesting town, but the smell from the paper mill made it really hard to stay long. As we were getting back to our car, though, we ended up running into friends from home who were beginning their road trip round to the Atlantic provinces. It really is a small world. We pushed on to our next stop, making our way into Quebec. In Levi, we found a park that had trails, another waterfall, and ruins. We spent an hour walking around and exploring the park. Quebec seems to have a lot of these beautiful natural parks, which are perfect places to stop. From there, we pushed the rest of the way home. I am so glad I have such a great travel partner. Bo is amazing in the car and mostly just lays there, waiting until our next adventure or a snack. As we passed the Ontario sign, I got a boost of adrenaline from the excitement of being so much closer to home and officially knowing where I was. The moment I can turn off Google Maps at the end of a long trip always excites me. It's been a long day, but we made it home safe and sound. We may have only had a week for our adventure, but we packed in quite a bit. New Brunswick is a very underrated province. There are so many beautiful places to visit and adventures to experience, and the people are very welcoming and hospitable. We very much enjoyed our time exploring and enjoying this wonderful province. And there's so much more that we just couldn't get to this time, so we will have to return, and that we will. After being on the road for 8 days and living in our van for the whole thing, there was much to be cleaned up. This is one reason I had pushed through the long drive, so that I would have a whole day to begin the process of getting our mobile home back in order. I got the inside all cleaned up, but the outside would have to wait for another day.